Hey Jackalls! Today we'll make something a little bit more cinematic, like this. Now let's get digital. So I got the idea for this video from a thumbnail that I made. The result isn't exactly like this, but it's similar. So what you want to do is make a fusion composition. I made mine 20 seconds long, so let's set this to 20 seconds, give it a name and put it onto the timeline, and we'll go into the fusion composition. So to start off with the effect, we'll make a background which will be the base color, but we can always change it. We'll change the type from solid to gradient and we'll select radial, display it, put the center to 0.5 and 0.5, and we can drag the ending to where we want it to be. Now select the black one, the left one, change it to whatever color that you want. Click somewhere on the gradient to add a second point. Change the color to darker, make a new point, change it even more, and the last one will be black. Now we'll add the fast noise node. Fast noise, connect it to the background. The background will be in the back of the merge and the fast noise will be in the foreground. Now if we display it, we have something like that. We'll change the apply mode to color dodge. And now let's change the fast noise. So the details, I've chosen 5, contrast 1.3 and brightness minus 0.2. I've changed the scale to 10. I've left the angle as is. And I've changed the seed and the seed rate to 0.01 because I want to have this move ever so slightly. And you have the fast noise like this, where you can use these two options or the combination of two. In this case, I'll just choose discontinuous. Now in case the effect is a little bit too strong, you can go to the merge node and adjust the gain by lowering it, maybe to 0.85, something like that. Now I'll copy this fast noise and connect it here, just like that. And I'll display it on the left side, just so we can see the difference what we have from this node to this one. So now what I'll want to do is go to the beginning, to the first frame, and I'll be animating the angle. I'll go from minus 90. So I have to keyframe this at minus 90, and then 2 seconds in, which is 48 frames in my case, I'll change this to minus 112.5, which is 22.5 degrees. You can also increase this value or decrease it depending on how fast you want this to move. Let's see how the animation looks like. It looks maybe a little bit too fast, but it stops. So to fix that, we'll go to the spline, have the node selected. If you have this ticked on, so it only shows the selected tools, select the angle, zoom to fit, select both points and choose set relative. This will now make the animation continuous throughout the whole clip. As you can see, it's spinning and it keeps on spinning all the way till the end. Now we have two fast noises, one of them spinning in the clockwise direction, but we want to add the eye of the student. So to do that, we'll use a Vertex Node, and I'll use this one because this one has the edge behavior if we need it. Now in this case it doesn't really show any difference, but depending on how big you want this vertex to be, this could make a difference, and you would most likely want to have the reflect selected. So now we have the vertex on the left. How big do we want it? Maybe something like that, 0.2. We can also set the angle, but first we have to take a look in which direction the fast noise is moving. So it's moving in this direction. So in this case we have to have a positive value for this to make any sense. Maybe 90 degrees. That looks okay. Or maybe, let's see, 135. Maybe something like that. We can now increase the swirl if we want. So we could also set this to 90 and then increase the swirl by a little bit. So maybe 0.1. And we can also adjust the power to fine-tune our selection, so maybe 1.5. Now in this case we have the whole composition moving, but I don't want that. I want only the vertex in the center to be moving. So to fix that, I'll use an ellipse node, connect it into the merge. What I'll do is put equals here and connect the width to the height. So I only need to adjust one value and not both. So let's see, maybe something like that. And I'll adjust the soft edge so it blends in a little bit. And now only the vertex is moving, which is what we want, but it's white. So to fix that, go to the merge and change the apply mode to color dodge. If the effect is a little bit too much, simply adjust the gain. And what we can also do if you want to change the color is not to change all of the colors here, but we can simply add the color Corrector node. And then we simply change the color and we'll get a different result. Maybe something like that. We can always come back to adjust this. Now the effect is basically done, but if you want to spice it up, we can add some particles to this. So we add particle emitter and render node so that we can see them. Now in the emitter, I'll change the style to blob, and in the size, I'll increase this to 5. Just so we can see something, and I'll display this on the right. Now in the region, this is currently a sphere, we don't want that, so in this case I'll choose Bezier, and because I want the particles to only come from outside the vertex, I'll simply make a shape like that. So now we have the particles coming from inside this shape, but not from the actual center. Now if you have too much particles, this may lag the system, so in render you'll want to destroy all of the particles that go outside of the screen. And now for the actual adjustments of the particles. So let's see in the control. Now in this case I've set the number of particles to 15 and the variance to 5. So this basically means from 10 to 20. The lifespan can be set to default 100, or you can change it, maybe 36, and the lifespan variance will be 12. Then we need to set the velocity, let's see 0.1. By default this will make the particles go to the right. We don't want that, we want to set the z-axis, and this means if we want the particles to come toward us, we need to put -90, and we can also set some variance in the z-axis, and I'll put this to 15. Now currently we have all of the particles white, we don't want that, we want the color to be different, so in the style go to color controls and color over life. This is again a gradient that we can change, so maybe something like that. We'll see how this looks like. So finally this will be a black color, this will be a bit gray, maybe something like that. We'll see how this looks like and we'll make the changes that we need. We can also adjust the size variance, I'll put here 2. We can also set size over life, so I'll put it like that. And we can also adjust the fade controls, maybe 0.2 and 0.8, just so we get some blending going on. Now the only thing that we need to do is change the merge from normal to something else. Let's see how color dodge looks like. It looks quite awesome, but we have an issue. Do you see the issue? So we have some issues with the particles. It may look cool if you want this kind of effect, but I don't. And what you see in the Fusion page, you will also see in the edit page. So when you render this out, it may look something like this. And this is definitely what I didn't want, to have the particles blink like this. So how you can fix that is simply disconnect this and copy it, make a new Fusion composition. I've made a new composition here. It contains the same nodes, so just the particles as you can see, and for good measure I've added an alpha background. I've then exported just this clip, so now I can go back. And these are my test particles that I've exported. And now I can simply put this into this composition. And instead of using the particle emitter enter node, I'll simply connect this here, just like that. In this case, because I didn't use the same emitter effect, these particles were too strong, so I'll adjust the gain. And as you can see, the particles were fairly fast, and to fix that, we can use a time speed node to slow them down. So in this case, I think I need to use 0.2. And because the particles were very slow, so they start appearing like at frame 70, we can also set the delay. So set the delay to 70 frames. So this has to be minus 70, because now it's a lot slower. So we have the particles start at this point, and we get this effect. Now in case you don't like the color, or it's not visible enough, you can simply increase it. This is for the whole effect, and this is only for the actual center. So maybe you want to have this more visible. And we can also come back to the color and make some changes. So you need to find a good color combination, and we can also disable the color corrector if you don't want it. Now, depending on the color combination that you choose, the gain values may be different than what I have. And this will also depend on the type of the fast noise that you use. So I can also invert this, and it actually looks a lot better in my opinion. And I could go back to the ellipse. The last thing that we can do is connect this ellipse to this merge node. But in this case, we have to select the merge node, go to the settings, and apply inverted selection. And what this will do is tone down the vertex by just a little bit. So maybe something like that. And that's basically the effect. And one thing that I didn't mention is that this is very computer intensive. Let me just clear the cache. So currently it's 2000, and if I connect the particle emitter back here, you will see why that this is intensive and why you may need to use the particle emitter separately and then import the video footage. So I'll just play this, and you can see that it starts going up really fast, and it will stop at about 20,000 in my case, and that's why we have the issues if you want to render this out in the timeline. Now this is just a quick render with the particles included, and as you can see, we don't really see any particles, and if you do see them, they quickly disappear. So if you have this issue, I couldn't find any other solution. As you can see, my memory is maxed out, so purge the cache. This is why you should separately export this fusion composition if your PC can't handle it, like mine can't, and just use the media in of the fusion composition, in this case the particles. You can also speed them up or speed them down and simply connect them to the effect. In this case I use the exported particles. We can clearly see them and everything is smooth and they don't disappear after half time. Now you have the effect done, you can simply add some text to it and maybe change the composition under the settings to, let's see, I think overlay is the one you want. Overlay looks good, but you can use any composition that you want. That's it for this video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see more DaVinci Resolve and video editing content. And until next time, Jackalls, keep it digital.